Aloha, it's Creativenametostandout again with another battle report. So every Monday I try to go up to the local shop and find a game, and I got lucky last Monday and popped in a little late, but there was still somebody there looking to get a game. It was somebody I played 3 weeks ago. I have the battle report on my channel. It was Ogre Army, and we played 2,500 points this time. The only difference, there was a big difference from last time. Last time we brought a large Death Star, and this time it's completely different. It's a very varied and unorthodox list. So I'm looking forward to play it. We rolled up regular battle line, and the terrain is 3 impassable pieces and then 3 mysterious forests. So starting on his right flank, he has his Saber-Tusk unit with the character, then 6 Yetis, 8 Lead Belchers. In the center is his large Ogre unit with his Wizard and BSB. This unit's flanked on each side with 30 Gnoblars, and then his battle line ends up being rounded out by a Stormhorn. And then off in the far corner, he has a Scrap Launcher. Going to my deployment, I have Dark Riders and then Crossbow Elves. On the other side of the terrain, impassable terrain that's on my side, are my large unit of Spearmen. And then kind of slanted to the side are Executioners, Witches, and then Crossbow Elves. And then the back behind my battle line is my Sorceress with Bunker, the Altar of Cain, Hydra, and finally some Harpies. So my game plan. It revolves around that piece of terrain you see there in the center. I'm going to use that as an anchoring force for the rest of my army's movement. I'm not going to advance too much forward. I'm going to let him come to me. I'll let him compensate for being so wide. If I go too far forward and don't use the terrain, then he can use the length of his deployment to outflank me and hit me in the sides. And while every army is weak getting flanked, my army is exceptionally weak at getting flanked because my strengths are the weight of attacks I can put into somebody. I don't run Shadow, so I can't get a lot of strength out, so I really need my massive amount of troops that I have for a Dark Elf army. So in the first turn, I bring out my Vanguard movement. He brings his out too, and then I cut it straight across into the center of the board as far as I can go. Otherwise, I don't move, and then I cast some magic. The first I cast the Flaming Sword spell on my crossbows, and then I also give them the +1 to hit spell on my crossbows from the Metal of Magic lore. And then finally, I get the bubble effect that improves all my armor within 12 inches by 2 points. I do some shooting, I don't think I do anything, and then I pass turn. We go into his turn. He moves forward. Here's the left, here's the center, and then here's the right. You can tell already that the piece of terrain is doing what I need it to do, and that is funnel him in awkwardly. This is going to allow me to take apart his army piecemeal if all my other plans work out. We go into the magic phase, and he casts a fireball, kills 5 of my guys. And then the shooting phase, he uses his scrap launcher, and despite the fact that I have both a 3+ save and a 5+ ward, he manages to kill 8 of them. The scrap launcher is only strength 3, so I mean it wounds my guys on a 4+, so it was pretty good. Here's an overlook of the board, and we'll go into turn 2 now. Now that I see that the piece of terrain is working the way I need it to, I go ahead and feel confident enough to start moving forward. I move my Harpies to delay the Stonehorn. He's not near his BSB, so he'll get 1 chance to redirect, and hopefully he fails that test. I move my Dark Riders in a way to be in such a way that it's very annoying to him. It will be very difficult for him. If he charges them, he will kill them. If he overruns, he'll expose his flank. But if he doesn't overrun and he decides to reform, he's going to effectively box out his right side of the army and allow me to take this 1 unit on with most of my army. So he's in a tough position. We go into magic. I get enchanted blades off on my crossbowmen, and then I get the scaly skin off for the majority of my army. It's the 12-inch bubble. We go into shooting, and I shoot 1 wound off the Stonehorn, and then I pass turn. My opponent's roster has 2 Gorgers, and one of them pops up this turn, and he puts it right behind my Cauldron of Blood. I'm not too worried about it. I remembered this game that they can pretty much kill anything that's not armored. Then he goes on to his charges. His Stonehorn charges my Harpies. I flee, and he does indeed fail his redirect test. And then his big unit chooses to charge my Dark Riders, so they're most likely dead. Here's some movement. Here is his middle flank, and there's his scrap launcher. We forget that you can't shoot after you fail charge, so his Stonehorn fires his giant crossbow and does 3 wounds to my Hydra. That's too bad. And then he goes into combat and he just, obliterates the Dark Riders. We debate about it. I tell him that what I personally think is that I would turn around and present my front to the rest of my armies because I'm more of a conservative player. But he decides that he would rather get the charge off. I tell him that he should remember, though, that he's 8 inches away, and the worst thing that could happen is that he charges, fails, then doesn't even get the charge and just exposes his flank to my executioners. He takes the risk, and he makes it. Now, when he hits my unit, he can't make his unit flush with mine because of the impassable terrain, and it also prevents my spearmen from getting flushed against him. It's kind of an awkward angle. But it's just a friendly game. So we just move the terrain piece out of the way and we make them flush. So at the beginning of my turn 3, I declare a charge with my executioners into the Ogre's flank. I also declare a charge with my witches and my crossbowmen into the Noblars, knowing that I'll kill them, and then hopefully I'll be able to just overrun past the Stonehorn and he won't be able to charge me. And then I bring my Hydra forward to roadblock the Stonehorn as best I can. My Harpies rally, and then I go into magic. I only get off glittering robes, but that's all I really need, and I get the bubble off. Only having level 2 is really, just giving me the magic phase. So I mean, obviously that's helped me a lot. And I also gave the +1 attack to the executioners for their combat, so they're a little bit more offensive. But I did get the armor up, so hopefully I won't take that many casualties. Plus I'm hitting him in the flank. I forgot that I also got enchanted blades on the executioners, so I have +1 to hit. We go into combat, and he makes way with his tyrant BSB and his champion. So this is not a bad mood. I'm not going to be able to kill his rank and file, which I was really thinking I was going to be able to do to get a lot of wounds in. But I don't get it. So we go into combat. He offers a challenge with his BSB. I accept with my champion. He has 3 attacks. I won't kill him, but maybe I'll do some damage. And actually that's what I do. I end up doing 2 wounds to the tyrant. I kill the unit champion, and I kill the firebelly. And then he kills a handful of guys. So I win combat. What really tips the scales, I don't win by terribly too much when it comes to combat, when it comes to casualties. But what tips the scales is that I have the executioners in the flank, so he doesn't get the rank bonus. And then I have all those spearmen, so he ends up being close to Snake Eyes, if not already on Snake Eyes, and he fails his reroll and his break test. So they fail. I have to pursue with the executioners because they have the frenzied BSB, and I run them down. In the other combat, my witches and my crossbowmen easily defeat the Noblars, but it really did take a beating. I lost a whole back rank to danger strain tests of witches and 3 more crossbowmen, and in combat he managed to kill a couple too. So a victory, but I guess like what is it, a Pyrrhic victory? I forget how to say it, but yeah, nonetheless, I win, but it did end up being a little costly for Noblars. Alright, so we go into my opponent's next turn. He starts with his Stonehorn declaring a charge against my Hydra. His Gorger charges my Altar of Cain. This is pretty interesting. I can tell that he was filled with a little bit of anticipation going into this scenario. Unfortunately, he's never faced the Altar of Cain before, and he doesn't realize that I have a hero pretty much with it, and just 1 Gorger is just not going to be enough to kill the Altar of Cain. So I guess this is like a learning experience at least. And then he goes in the shooting phase. He does a little bit of movement, then goes into shooting phase, and his lead belchers open up on my executioners. They don't have the 5+ invulnerable because they have the +1 attack from last time. And then I guess I showed this because the scrap launcher must have hit them and did a little bit of damage. And then I guess the nobblers threw some stuff at the executioners. Then we go into combat. And this is the happy dance celebration touchdown. And we go to the Stonehorn, and he just blows through the Hydra. And the Hydra only had 2 wounds left, and he overruns because it has a little bit of frenzy, but doesn't make it to the other unit. Alright, and then we go to my turn. My first charge to declare, I kind of have a little bit of an angle on the lead belchers. He doesn't take a chance, and he just flees. I declare a charge with my harpies against the scrap launcher. They're both too hard targets to choose, so I figure I have a better chance against the scrap launcher, but I fail. I think I was 19 inches away, so I needed a 9. We go into magic phase. I cast Fireball. I cast the largest one you can do, the 3rd level, and I kill half of the Yetis. Or maybe I cast the 2nd one, because I imagine if I cast the 3rd one. No, it must have been the full one. And then just an overlook of the board after that. It was a lot of reforming and getting back into position. Alright, and then in his turn, he declared a charge against the Altar of Cain with the Stonehorn. It's really close. I mean, I don't know. It was very, very close, and in the end, I just don't care. So he declared the charge. He made it, and he just blew through them. Nothing else much happened. I think he rallied the stuff that it was fleeing. He made it to the other unit, and this is what the board looked like at the end of the game. It was turn 4, I think, and we were running out of time. The shop was going to close in 15 minutes, so we had to start packing up. Well, in the end, the Dark Elves did win, and it was a little bit over 800 points after you put in the banner and generals and all that stuff. Things I would have done differently. Really, the game plan, and it's always hard to try to go back and correct things when you won. Like, obviously, it seems like you did what you needed to do to be right. But I do see one thing that I feel like I probably took too much of a chance on. And while my main idea was to move my center at that angle that it's positioned as you see here, I was really leaving myself open to having that Stonehorn hit my lines from the flank. Like I kind of completely wrote it off, and there was a really big danger of that happening. I did bring my harpies up there to harass him, but had he passed his redirect test, he could have redirected into my witches and just ran down the line into my executioners. What I probably should have done, I think, is I could have afforded putting my Hydra further out on the angle and have him come through the forest. It would have put his Stonehorn in danger of exposing his flank to me, and I could have charged him, and that might have kept him back. Of course, the thing does have frenzy too, so who knows. The other thing is, when I did bring my harpies up there, I probably should have not have. If my goal was to have him hopefully fail his redirect test, maybe I should put him at an angle. That way, when he fails his redirect test, he'd be going off to his right, my left, away from my battle line. So again, I need to continue to practice how I use my skirmishers. I really have been influenced by the other people you'll see on the web that do this type of tactic. So I just really put their work into practice when I play my real games. So yes, so yeah, hope you enjoyed this game, and please like, please comment, and if you would like, please subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and until I write another one, see ya.